the myth, Lino, Sonny, the list goes, Count Chocula, thank you. My brain went dead for a second there. Like, he's also worked on Imus in the Morning, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
What haven't you done? Larry Kenney, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah! Oh, what a nice welcome. Thank you very much.
He brought you a drink. You have good kids.
Thank you. I do have good kids, don't I? Are they here?
They are.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Where's everybody else?
It was in mom's room.
Oh, okay.
See, good kids.
Good kids, great kids and great grandkids.
Yeah, you're here with the full boat this weekend.
Yeah.
How's it going so far?
Pardon me.
Oh, no worries.
Going very well. Having a nice time, meeting a lot of nice people.
Do you ever fanboy out at anybody when you come to things like this? Have you ever had
There are
that?
sometimes when you walk in, you go, William Shatner. Or you,
So, Larry,
Yeah.
where do we start with you? All the way back to when you were 15?
yeah, 15 years old in radio.
15 in radio.
1963.
Man, most of us at 15 are out in the backyard chewing on sticks and stuff.
Well, we didn't have any backyard, so
No backyard?
I had to get in the business.
Really?
No.
Oh, I was like, damn, I didn't do my research well enough.
What I heard was all correct.
Yeah, well, yeah. Tell us about your first job in radio.
In the radio,
How'd you trick them, first of all?
I paid them. No, I didn't. I'm
All
sorry.
right,
I'm
Gullibles
sorry.
written on the ceiling, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry. It was 1963. I was a junior in high school, or about to be one, and I had taken I had taken a semester of radio class. We actually had a radio class that far back in the 60s in a small town in Illinois. I don't know how, looking back, I don't know how it ever came about, but we had not a radio station. We didn't broadcast over the air, but we would send it down telephone lines to the local radio station.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we did a 10-minute show every day on the local station, where we talked about what was going on in schools, different schools around the area, and what was being served at lunch for that day, so mothers would know what not to cook for dinner. And then we would read a newscast, stuff like that. 10-minute show is all it was. And I had been doing that for a little while when I got a call from the big radio station in Peoria, across the river. And they asked me if I wanted to work there, and I said, yeah, sure. So I worked there, and then I moved on to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then to Cleveland, Chicago, and then finally New York. I've been in New York for now 52 years, I think, something like that.
Did you travel around just going from bigger to bigger stations?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you were good.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually won awards for your country station.
Yeah, I was on a country station in New York, WHN. Anybody know it? Doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, in 77 and 79, I think, I was named Billboard Magazine's Disc Jockey of the Year for country.
That's
country
impressive.
music. Yeah, it was nice.
When did you start doing impressions?
According to my mom, as soon as I started talking,
Really?
I think she was exaggerating a little bit, but she said I used to, as soon as I started talking, I would mimic cartoon characters I saw on TV and other comedians and things like that. I was always imitating them. And I did that when I entered school. I always did a lot of jokes, and I was a class clown, because I found out early that girls love a guy who can make them laugh. Am I right, girls? I made them laugh.
That's good.
Yeah, but plus it was good practice, and yeah. So very early on, I was doing voices.
Do you remember any of the voices you used to do as a kid? How about what got you onto Imus?
Well,
because you was with him for a while.
35 years.
Yeah.
I was working in Cleveland at a radio station, I was working in Chicago at that time. This is in 1973. I was doing a show in Chicago in the morning radio, and Imus was doing mornings in New York.
Mm-hmm.
He had just come to New York. And, okay, so a year goes by, and I never met him in Cleveland. A year goes by, and he gets his, let me think now, that's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, we both were on the air at the same time. I was on the air in New York in the morning, and he was, I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I'm 112 years old. Anyway.
Take all the time you need, Larry.
Thank you. Imus heard me on the air. I'll tell you what it was. Imus left to go to New York, to come to New York from Cleveland. I was still, and I was in Chicago.
Yeah.
And Walt Ryan, who was my engineer, the guy that played the records and turned the microphones on and everything, in Cleveland, moved back to New York to work at NBC, and he became Imus's engineer. One day, Imus said, you worked at KYC in Cleveland, didn't you? And Walt said, yeah. He said, you ever work with Larry Kenney? Walt said, yeah, I was his engineer. And Imus said, you suppose he would do some of those voices on my show for me, and so on. So for an entire year, every day, we both had the news on at the top of the hour, so we had 5 or 6 minutes. He would call me, and he would say, let's do Richard Nixon today, or Henry Kissinger, or something like that. And we would ad lib about a 3-minute comedy routine.
Do you still do?
I did that with him up until 2008. So that's how. So for the first year, I never even. I still hadn't met him. I worked with him every day. Had never met him. And then I came. And then I got an offer to come to New York, and so I came. And then that was, Then I started working with him more and more.
Were you around during the Howard Stern stuff?
Oh yes, sure. I was there. I was in the office the day Imus threw Howard Stern out of his office. Yeah.
That's fantastic. How come you didn't make the movie?
Stern did.
Oh no, I mean, how come you weren't in the movie?
No, I wasn't.
Did you have a particular style to your country music morning show? Were you like a what do they call them? Zoo morning
The
zoo
morning
show?
zoo? No, not on my show.
No.
That was Imus's show.
Yeah.
It was a zoo. No, I approached it the same way I had approached every other station I worked at.
Oh, really?
We're not country, some were rock and middle of the road and things like that. But I just did my own show, the way I do a radio show. And it fit in pretty well there.
Did your radio, when did we run into starting to do voiceover work? How did that happen?
Well, all along the way in radio, working at a radio station on the air, most stations, smaller stations especially, part of your job is to, when you get off or before you go on the air, they give you a stack of commercials to read, running on other parts of the day, which we all hated having to do, but looking back on it, it was a great experience for me, because then when I got to New York, I got an agent, and they started sending me on auditions and all that, and I started getting more and more work to the point where I finally just quit the radio job.
Really?
And just did only that and Imus.
No kidding. Now, how did you land? You landed Silverhawks first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Thundercats first?
Thundercats was first. We recorded Thundercats. I think we started in '83, late '83.
You just went in and auditioned, and they were just like,
Yeah.
"This is the guy."
Well, they auditioned 250 people for Lion-O on both coasts. And
What kind of information did they give you going in?
well, when you walked in, it was the offices of Rankin production company, And the walls were all lined with drawings of the characters and you know, synopsis of what the show was going to be about. Because it was a brand new show, and, you know, and we were all, when I say we, I mean all the actors in New York, were really excited because up until Thundercats, there had not been an animated show produced in New York. They were all done in California. You know, Disney and Warner Brothers and all those, Looney Tunes and all those made in California. So the walls were lined with illustrations, drawings of the characters, a little paragraph about each one of them, you know, what their role in the show was, and this and that and that. And when it came my turn to go into the booth and, you know, audition, they asked me to pick 2 characters I wanted to audition for. One Thundercat and one mutant and bad guy. Well, first of all, I said, I'm going to try out for Lionel because he's a star. He's the Lord of the Thundercats, you know, so I'll try out for him. And then the other one, I liked the drawing of Jackal Man. And so I'm trying to think, okay, now Lionel's voice is just my voice.
Yeah.
It's not a character voice, so I just had, all I had to do was a little more dramatic.
Actually, the first time I met you, I was behind the camera, and a friend of mine was interviewing you, and it brought me back to like my childhood because it was just I closed my eyes and it was like Lionel was talking in my ear, and I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, it's basically my voice, more dramatic. That's all. Like I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I would say something like, "Sword of Omens, come to my hand. I, Lionel, command it." On TV, it comes out, "Sword of Omens, come to my hand. I, Lionel, command it." But it's still my voice. And
Notice everybody just got chilled.
Sounds just like the guy on TV, right? For the other guy, Jackal Man, I wasn't sure what a jackal was. I knew it was something like a sneaky wolf or, you know, some that kind of thing. And my mind went to one of my favorite animated shows of all time, Rocky and Bullwinkle. You guys remember?
Yeah.
Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Yeah.
And there was a character on there named Snidely Whiplash. He was the arch villain. Wore the black hat and the black cape and had a mustache that went like this, you know. He's always going, "I'm gonna get you now and tie you to the railroad track." So I thought, that might be good for this character. So I just gave it a little more gravel and made it a little meaner sounding and more animalistic. And it came out, "We must get the Thundercats, yes."
That's so
Well,
good.
that's how I got those 2.
Well, one of my next questions was going to ask, can you still do Jackal Man? So I guess that's an answer.
That's a big yes.
There's not much call for it anymore, but I can still do it.
Anybody out there, if you have if you have questions, just raise your hand.
Mr. Kenney,
Yes, ma'am.
I heard you did a Stanley Brooklyn impersonation, you know. There was a character from Rocky and Bullwinkle, right?
Yeah. Stanley Whiplash, is that?
There's a,
Yeah, you
I'm
remember-
going to take it to the railroad now.
Very good. Very good.
But if you have questions, just raise your hand and I will call on you guys. Otherwise, I'm going to be very boring. I'm going to go down the list. Go over here.
Hey Larry, I was just curious, as someone who I know you have done a bunch of serial cartoons in the monster universe, did you ever try out for the other monster serials? And if so or if not, have you ever tried voices for those other characters?
Oh yeah, sure. I did for 40 years. I was the voice of Count Chocula, and the voice of Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, Cocoa Puffs Cuckoo Bird. Remember him? I bet I won't go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yahoo!
That's so
And if we had to put you on the spot to give us a Frankenberry, even though that wasn't your character?
That was Bob McFadden who played Snarf on Thundercats.
Oh,
Who did
wow.
Frankenberry cereal with strawberry flavored marshmallow.
Yeah!
And Count Chocula, of course, was Count Chocula cereal, fried Philly delicious, with something in every bowl. Chocolate something.
I don't remember myself.
Chocolatey goodness.
So, what's the most fun you've had in the recording studio while doing Thundercats? Do you remember any of those?
Yes.
Did you guys ad lib or everything?
No, we didn't. It was all written.
Oh, okay.
And that's the way they wanted it, and it was better that way. We liked it that way because we had fantastic writers. And there was never a time, I think, that any of us actors said, this should be changed. Is that the sound right now?
Yeah.
So we just read it the way it was written, and they were great writers.
That's cool. So most fun in a recording session?
Watching Earl Hammond transform from Mum-Ra, from Mummy into Mum-Ra, the ever-living. If you remember the show, Mum-Ra, the head bad guy, had been dead for thousands of years, and he was a mummy. But there was something, I forget how he did it, but at some points he transformed into, well, he would go, ancient spirit of evil, transform this decayed form into Mum-Ra, the ever-living. And when he did that, spit would fly out his mouth every time. In fact, when you watch the show, the Mum-Ra, when he started transforming, he actually had green stuff coming out of his, evil bile probably, dripping from his, on screen dripping. Well, Earl did that, not on purpose, but just because he just drool would just start coming. He'd actually go like this sometimes. Ancient spirit of evil, transform. So we all had our little joke amongst the rest of us, amongst ourselves, that one of us should always look a couple of pages ahead of where we were and warn the others when he was going to transform. Page 28, it's going to So when we turned the page to 28, we all just started moving back further and further from Earl. That was my favorite funny thing. But of course, it was always a lot of fun. We worked together so long, that same group of people. We did Thundercats first, 165 episodes, 130 episodes. And then we did Silverhawks, if you remember Silverhawks.
Yeah, 65 episodes of that.
65 of them, yeah, that's half a season. Actually, in cartoons, I don't know if it's still the same, but 40 years ago, when you had recorded 130 episodes, you could syndicate.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
So that, I'm not sure exactly the technicalities of it, so we did 130 Thundercats and then syndicated it, went on to do Silverhawks, and we did 65 of them. And your question was, sorry.
I don't know.
How old are you?
Only 45, man.
That's how it starts.
The question was, we were doing most fun in the recording studio.
Yeah.
We just started talking about Silverhawks and stuff in Thundercats.
Right.
And we trailed off into it.
Yes, I did.
Yes, it's okay, but...
well, don't care if I'm going to do it again. If you
oh, okay, go for it. Have fun.
No, I'm just... My point was that that's the same cast of characters, 5 of us, did all the Silverhawks, all the Tiger Sharks, Thundercats, Karate Cat. We did a Saturday morning show on ABC called Comic Strip.
Yep.
4 15-minute shows, a 2-hour package. And it was the same people who worked on all of them. Then we also did, for Rankin Bass, the same company, we did 5 or 6 holiday specials, animated specials. I grew up watching Rankin Bass animated specials, like Frosty the Snowman with Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
Rudolph.
Rooney was one of the guys that did those.
Fred Astaire did the Rudolph, and Burl Ives did the Frosty the Snowman. Remember Burl Ives?
Yep.
A little bit of tear let me down.
So
my point is that we all worked together for like 5 or 6 years. At least once a week we'd all be working on one of those shows, or Bob McFadden and I would be in the studio doing Frankenberry and Count Chocula commercials. We all got to know each other very well and became almost like family, like Christmas parties, And so that really was my biggest joy of working with the people I worked with.
That's cool. I don't expect you to remember any of the dialogue. That would be like crazy, but if I don't ask if you remember any of the dialogue or speeches, I'm sure a fan would be like, how come you didn't ask him to say this or that? So do you have anything that you have backed up that you're just like, this was really important and I kind of just held on to it?
Well, if any of you have heard the outtakes on the internet, you know about the outtakes. The outtakes are things that, yeah.
Yes, and bloopers.
Bloopers, very good. Bloopers. We call them outtakes because you have to take them out because they couldn't go on the air. You know, it was either people swearing or you know, one of my favorite ones, and it's me. Panthro is trying to fix the Thunder tank, and he says, "That blasted samoflange." There's a slight pause, and you hear me say, "What the fuck is a samoflange?" So that's the kind of thing you hear on the bloopers.
So you have 3 kids, correct?
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
Well, Tanner counts as 2 because
2 are here. I know one has joined in with you on Grand Theft Auto. Is Carrie the only one that actually got the showbiz bug, though?
No, Tanner did it for a while. Tanner auditioned for commercials.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Just a little bit, nothing like Carrie does. She's.
Oh, I have that in my research. Damn,
Well, he just you did that one thing that I did. I was on Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that, by the way? I have to ask about doing a video game. Was that just studio, or did you have to do mocap for that one?
For that one, I just did studio. Mocap I did for Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a whole other world. Mocap stands for motion capture. And it's hard to explain really, but for most jobs, I go into the studio, record it, you know, and then you go home. For mocap, motion capture, you have to arrive early in the morning, 6:37 in the morning. They put you in a suit. It's like a latex or what it was called, that has little sensors all over, electronic sensors. You put a helmet on and it has a sensor. There's a thing like this that comes straight out and down, and it has the microphone on it, and a bright light right in your eyes the whole time you're working. And the first thing you do is for about half an hour, you're standing in an arc of cameras. You know, 100 cameras.
And to scan you or something?
Yeah, and it's scanning into the computer. And then there's a guy who'll say, give me the biggest smile. Now frown. Wink one eye, wink the other. Put your arm up. Turn around. This for half an hour. That's so that the computer can memorize how you move, how your particular body moves. That's why it looks so realistic on screen.
I
In
love
fact,
that
my
game.
wife says when she was watching my character, J.B. Cripps, anyone I know J.B. Cripps? You know,
Come on, no Red Dead
even
Redemption.
old Codger says things like, well, she claimed to be royalty, but she had a head the size of a pumpkin. And anyway, it's the weirdest thing because there's no, and you're not in a recording booth. You're in this enormous barn. The one we recorded in was out on Long Island. It used to be a Grumman aircraft place where they built the missiles and rockets for space missiles. You imagine how big that is.
That's
And all over the ceiling and the walls, there were cameras and monitors. So you get dressed up in this whole thing, and the boots and everything, gloves. You just covered head to toe, and try to act in that situation. And when you went out onto the stage, it was just this big, huge room with, let's say if we were filming a scene where I was with my horse.
yeah.
Okay, there's no horses there, of course. It was a 50-gallon barrel on 4 2x4s with a broom for a tail.
Had to have the tail in there.
And when the scene called for me to climb up on my horse, I would climb up on it, you know, like this. But what you would see in the finished product is an old guy getting up on his horse and riding off, and it looks so realistic.
That's freaking cool.
It's the strangest thing I've ever done so far. New technology.
Got a question over here again?
Yeah.
Hey Larry, I was curious, when I think about legendary voice actors, there's a gentleman that started just a few years after you, and I know he also started in the 70s. I believe his first was I Dream of Jeannie. Have you and Mark Hamill ever got to be on the same type of project?
Never worked with Mark, but I'll tell you how I met him.
Okay,
I
I'd
was
love to
doing
hear
a
that
Comic-Con
story.
in Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida.
New Jersey.
Was it the one in New Jersey?
It's
where
our
Mark
first
worked?
ever convention, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, my first ever convention.
Wow.
That's right. And I was at my table signing, and there was this short line of people. You sign it, they said, thank you very much, and you look up. And I look up, and the next guy is Mark Hamill.
That's so cool.
He stood in my line to get my autograph.
That
He's-
was amazing.
That was like,
Did you guys get to chat?
I thought he's put me on, right? Somebody's a joke. Somebody, okay, guys, did you get that on film? And he turned out to be just a fantastic guy. And Mark Hamill is huge into animation. He has his own studios and makes his own animated things, not just cartoons, but Star Wars stuff, stuff like that. And so I guess he was collecting autographs from other people. And the funniest thing was, I talked with him for, I don't know, half an hour, 10 or something like that. We left, I said, I didn't get his autograph. Yeah.
Another question.
Yeah. Larry, did you ever have a moment when you were talking to somebody and they reference something you did or whatnot, and they don't realize it's you, and you have to be like, that's me. I'm like, no, it's not. And you do the voice, I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, sure, that's you. Yeah, right. Well, early on, of course, I'm sure that happened. I know it happened a few times because with commercials, unlike with cartoon shows or any other movie or TV show or anything, when you watch a movie, there's credits at the end. TV shows, it tells you who played what part. It's not there in commercials. So unless you really know your voices, you don't know who's doing the commercials. This is kind of in line with what you asked me about the people really believe it's me. Thundercats had been out about 6 or 8 months and was doing really well. The ratings and everything, people were talking about it and all that. And I went Christmas shopping at Toys R Us. May they rest in peace.
Yes.
They're coming back.
Yeah, we just saw one in
Macy's.
Macy's. Yeah.
Macy's.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the previous time that I had the last previous time I had been there was about 4 or 5 months earlier, when there was one row of Thundercats stuff on either side, And I thought, wow, this is cool because our show is, it's now we have toys and action figures, so it must be doing pretty well. I'm walking down the aisles, and I passed the aisle that had the action figures, and there's 2 young guys, maybe 8, 12 years old, I don't know, looking at him, and I'm slowly walking by, and I heard this one kid say, I'm going to get Pantro, because he's the coolest Thundercat. I said, the other kid says, no, I'm going to be Tigra. He's the one I like. Well, I couldn't control myself. I had to walk over. Boys, why don't you get Lionel? He's the lord of the Thundercats. He's the one who goes, Thundercats, hello! And right in the middle of Toys R Us, I'm doing this to an audience of 2 8-year-olds. I'm sure they thought I was a pervert. Well, back then we didn't know what perverts were. But, so I said, I'm going to get Tiger. So I said that, I walked over and said, why don't you get Lionel? He's the one who goes, this. And they looked up at me like, who the hell is this? So I just kind of slunk away. And as I'm walking away, I heard one of them say, he didn't even sound like Lionel. I wanted so bad to say, you little, you only knew. You'd be crapping your pants. And I won't, you know what, I've always, to this day, I still hope that someday some 42-year-old guy or whatever will come up to my table and say, I met you at Toys R Us one day.
Can you sign my pantro?
Line of the day right here.
Yeah, on that point, did you ever get anything from the shows? Did you ever collect any of the toys? Yeah.
You mean like action figures?
Action figures or
like,
any like anime cells or
no,
anything like that?
Well, the last 2 days we recorded Thundercats. We'd been recording it for 3 years. And when we recorded those last, 2 episodes or whatever, the company brought in boxes and boxes of animation cells from the show.
Yeah.
And they said, guys, take any of those that you wanted, take them. They're going to be burned anyway or something like that, So I think I took 2. I took a Jackalman, I took a Lion over 2. That's all I ever. Now I'm signing those for people.
Right.
And they're worth like a couple of grand piece.
We have one Jackalman left.
One Jackalman.
That's it.
Do I have any bids on that?
Anybody?
That's, some of them they're selling for like $1,000 without my signature. With my signature on them, they're worth $1,010.
Whoa. Breaking the bank.
It's almost a hamburger.
You know what? You guys entertain the crowd. Okay. I can't keep up with you guys.
All right. So back onto your children. What was the advice that you gave Carrie or any of your children going into show business? Were you apprehensive at all, or?
Yeah. And I always wondered before I had kids. I wondered if they want to do this. But I tell them, because along the way you work with a lot of kids. One of my favorite kid actors I ever worked with was Fred Savage. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
When he was 7 or 8 years old, he was on some Cocoa Puffs commercial.
Okay.
He was brilliant even then. Everybody went, is that a midget? He was so professional and so talented. And once again, I've forgotten what the question was.
Advice that you gave your kids.
Oh, advice, yes.
About show business.
Carrie is my oldest child. She's 54 years old now. And when she got to be, I don't know, 12, 13, something like that, one day she said, Dad, can I try out for some movies and I want to be an actress. I want to do it too. And I thought, oh, shit, here we go. I didn't want to discourage her, and I didn't. But in my heart, I really thought, I really wish she would just get a college education and a career, because acting is, it's a tough business before you even are on screen or whatever. The rejection. I mean, you go to an audition, you go to 5 auditions in a day, they don't like you, you go to 10 of them the next day, and you have to put up with a lot of that until finally somebody sees that you have some talent, So what I did with Carrie is I said, well, I'll tell you what. Let's go talk to Uncle Donnie about it. Don Buchwald was my agent. Rest his soul, he just passed away last month.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we were family friends. He used to come over to our house all the time. Anyway, I said, let's talk. Get Don's advice, and I'm gonna leave it out of my hands because I don't want, years from now you hating me because I didn't let you act or anything like that. Let you hate Don. And I knew she respected him terribly. And I made an appointment with him for her, and I didn't say anything to him about what it was. I said, Carrie would like to talk to you. He said, oh, sure, okay. And I did not say, hey, do me a favor, dissuade her, I wouldn't do that. She was in there with him for about 20 minutes, and she came out smiling. She said, guess what, Dad? I'm going to stay in school, and I'm going to do plays in school, and speech classes, and debate, and anything that involves standing up in front of the public and doing things like that. That way I'll get a lot of experience, and then and that's exactly what Don had told her, and I just breathed a sigh of relief. And she did. She stayed in school, And she didn't. I don't know if any of you familiar with Larry Kenney, Silver? Reno 911.
Oh, yeah.
Superstore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my daughter.
Oh, wow.
And so she stayed in school and she did plays. She became very popular in school. And then she got to NYU and they had a comedy group that graduated and 2 weeks later was hired by MTV to do a show called You Wrote It, You Watch It with Jon Stewart as host. Then they gave them their own show called The State. Anybody remember The State?
Yes.
Yes.
The announcer sounded something like this. And now, MTV presents The State. That would be. And she took care of her old man, made me the announcer.
Nice.
But she's doing it tremendously. But the thing was, like you asked me, what advice did I give him? That's what advice I gave him. And I think I gave the other two kids that same advice. I certainly didn't dissuade them from.
You had a question in the back? No? You? Yeah.
Well, I was just wanting to give a story about Madame Tussauds.
Madame Tussauds.
So,
The wax. This is my wife, by the way, Carol. Big hand for Carol.
Thanks for coming.
My son Tanner right next to her. Yay! My son-in-law, Jay LaPierre, right there. The rest of them. What do you say?
Don't clap.
There are many more of us here. They're out gambling, probably, especially. The 5-year-old. I'm sure he's found a way to play blackjack.
Do you,
Madame Tussauds?
yes, in England.
When we were in England?
Yes.
Oh, the cowboy?
Yes.
Yeah. We were in England, and I was at the time when I was doing a disc jockey show on a country station in New York. So I always wore cowboy hat and boots and stuff like that. We were at the Wax Museum, and I'm standing there looking at this figure of, I don't know, Marilyn Monroe or something like this. Unbeknownst to me, this little boy, maybe 6 or 7, all my stories involve 6, 7, 8-year-olds. No, wait, that makes me sound like a privilege. I happened to look down, and he goes, he thought I was a wax figure. Oh, no. Is that the one? Yeah. Well, and then I think Tanner and I were at the Wax Museum back in New York. Of course, after he was born, I'm sure it was you, Tanner, when you were 7 or 8 years old. And if you recall, you walk that building, you walk through this hallway that curves around, and you walk to different displays of wax figures. Well, there was a bench between two of these corners. So I said, Tanner, let's sit down on this bench. And I said, lean back. Now don't move. Because there were always people coming around that last next corner. So we sat there. It would get to about 10 feet from us and we'd go, you know, the thing is. I love it.
You go to a lot of wax museums.
yeah, right?
Two that remember.
Go ahead.
Yeah. When I think of your cartoon, you're the leader of the Thundercats,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me think of another favorite leader of mine, Optimus Prime, voiced by Peter Cullen.
Oh, sure.
Transformers. And I just kind of imagine that you two, because you both are at conventions and stuff, you guys probably met
Fight
out,
it out.
had conversations, and I just imagine you two just sitting in a bar drinking, and then somebody overhears, almost like, are you? And is, you do your thing, he does his thing, and someone's very happy, like, oh, I just met Optimus, and I know at a bar, it was great.
Sure.
So did you ever have moments like
Not
that?
with Peter Cullen. I've not met Peter Cullen.
Okay.
And I've not met a lot of the people that you know from cartoons, because, like I said, the cartoons used to be all recorded out in California. Now they are not. So you have New York actors and California actors, and you very rarely meet each other unless you work on a movie together or something like that. But, I've had a couple drinks with a lot of them, yeah. A lot of drinks. So is that what you asked me?
Yeah, just
specifically about Peter Collins?
yeah.
Yeah, great talent. I never met him.
We're running low on time, so if anybody has questions, right there in the back, John.
You doing, Larry?
Good, man. How you doing?
Oh, great. You've got so many different voices behind this. Which one is your favorite? And is it Wilford Brimley?
Well, I like Wilford Brimley because of the way he fixes turkeys. Remember that? It's the right thing to do. I used to enjoy mostly Nixon, Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
Because I would come, he'd say, "Good morning, Mr. President." I'd go, "I'm in the morning. How you doing, Dono?" Who else did I do? Henry Kissinger. I tell you one I used to love to do. Andy somebody. What was his name? Rooney. Andy Rooney. You remember him?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to people. Maybe I just didn't sound like Andy Rooney. Do you ever notice how people, that was, yeah, those are two of them I like. And of course, Henry Kissinger was always fun too, because he talked like he couldn't open his mouth, and that German accent.
You go to a lot of cons, don't you?
I do 7 or 8 at the most a year.
What's it like having people like us want to get that moment with you?
It's wonderful.
Is it?
I love it.
All the time?
Yes. All the time.
Get him a refill.
There's never been anyone who's annoying or won't leave your table. We call them barnacles. The ones who just come over there and stand there and talk to you and talk to you and talk to you and talk to you. When you have a line of people, you can't just say, "Move along," and come on,
Right.
And a lot of the people, not an inordinate amount of a number of people, but at things like this, we find that there are a lot of people with issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We all have issues, and some are more difficult to cope with than others. And when they come to Comic-Cons, these are the people, I think, who are some of them who are not popular kids in school. They're not in the cliques. They're not, some of them are maybe treated badly. They're called nerds and stuff like that. Well, guess what? Since Comic-Cons came along, nerds are running things.
Oh yeah.
Finally getting paying back. But I just didn't love meeting people and talking with them, and I still love meeting the other celebrities. I don't like to use that term for myself, but other people who are here signing autographs. I get as much kick out as anybody else. Oh, you okay? All right. But so anyway, I find nothing negative about it except the travel is starting to get to me. I'm just turned 77 years old.
Yes, happy birthday. We should all wish Larry a happy
Yeah.
Thank you, but it is my nap time. Any other questions?
We are at the end, so if anybody has one more question. Yes, sir.
Mr. Kenney.
Yeah.
I understand you did voices for Rankin Bass, right?
Yeah.
Did you do anybody for the Christmas specials? They came with all Halloween.
Either Christmas or Halloween specials.
Oh, Christmas specials for Rankin Bass, yeah.
Right.
One was called A Star for Jeremy. They still run sometimes at Christmas time. The biggest one was called Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. It was claymation. Sir Alfred Drake was starring.
There are makers like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Right?
Yes, I mentioned those, yeah.
Santa Claus that came to town.
Yeah.
Then they just a little boy, quicker than heart. Also, my mother likes Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol.
Thank you.
You know, somebody asked me earlier, I think they did it, not the hell of it, if there's ever any job that I wanted so bad and didn't get, it was Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. To this day, it kills me that I didn't get that. Not just
Oh, I was going to say something.
Magoo,
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry.